What is up, YouTube? This is Michael from Team Dreadnought, bringing you a V Premium Thingsaver deck list. I'm just going to go ahead and disclaimer now, there will not be a Premium Thingsaver deck list for quite some time. I don't think the deck is worth playing, but I just want to get that out of the way because I know that's probably going to be a question sooner or later. I think MLB is just better. But starter, V starter, no point in playing anything else. I don't think there is anything else in V you could play. Milius comes SP and you reminds me of Altmile. You can play a trigger, I guess. We'll just go right into Secret Thingsaver Dragon. This card is really, really good. When he's placed, you can counterboss 1 and call a Blade Seeker, and it gets plus 10 for every single marker you have on board. And then at the end of the battle, it can Soul Blast 3. If you did not ride this turn, search your deck for a Seeker Thingsaver Dragon and ride it. It also returns 4 cards to deck when you do this. I'll get more into that later on why it's important for why I play certain cards the way I do. This card's good, but if you go second, you feel like this card just isn't worth playing. Once you can get the deck going, it's really strong, and the combo plays it can do is really good. But you're giving up your first grade 3 turn effectively every single game, which isn't the best thing in the world, but I definitely recommend playing this deck. It's insanely fun and insanely cheap. Besides the Jewel Knight core, but other than that, it's pretty cheap. I play 1 Pure Heart Jewel Knight Ashley. I've explained this in previous videos on the card and why it's so good. I wish there was more space, but there really, sadly, isn't. Plus, the Soul Blast 2 is a lot more effective in this deck when there's Soul Blast 3 for Thingsaver. You can do it occasionally. I use it as a kind of a finishing thing. Try to find it off Baby Mob, maybe hold it in hand if you need it. Worst case, you can just find it and do it later. You can make some combos in this deck. You can call it your mid-battle phase to get another attack in, and it's just another attack in your combo turn. Sorry for the weather. Allergies still killing me. 3 Absolute Blade Knight Levero. This is still the best grade 2 in Royal Paladin. A lot of people aren't playing it in Thingsaver anymore. I think this card is still just a Royal Paladin card. This is what you want. It's counterboss 1 to get a grade 2, but if you have no face-up damage, one place from hand, no face-up damage, you can Soul Boss 1 instead. This card gives you a free card. It's just really good for your early game pressure. And later in the games and turns where you just want another attacker before you go Thingsaver to set up your whole multi-attack, it's just really solid. Then 3 of one of my favorite cards in the entire game at this point is Loading Angel. I'm really happy a deck can play it again, because I bought like 103 of these. At the end of the turn, if you have 5 or more units, you can counterboss 1, shove them in soul, and draw 2. It's good. It draws you 2 cards and gives you a soul for Thingsaver, which is just really fantastic. And this deck can kind of play it to where it puts it on board after you attack with everything. So it's just really solid and can give you hand. And early game, if you're calling your hand to rush them, it's just really good for the draw 2. 4 Explode Jewel Knight Lel. This card's also really good. It's when something's placed in the same circle as it, you can give it plus 10. So your first grade 3 turn is at least a plus 10 if you add it on Vanguard, which isn't the worst thing in the world. But it can also help when you're multi-attacking. This deck, once you go off, is going to just chain attacks. And so having an extra plus 10 is really helpful. And when this unit attacks, you can put 2 normal units to the bottom of your deck to Soul Charge 1. This helps to return Blade Seekers to call off Thingsaver, so you're not wasting one of your 4 cards on a Thingsaver. Instead, you can just put 4 triggers back. It's really good. Plus, it's your target to call off Ashley most of the time. Then 4 Blaster Blade Seeker. This guy has gotten a huge upgrade from his original form. When he's played on Vanguard or Rearguard, you can discard 1 to pop a front row. Then, if your Vanguard is equal to or less than your opponent's grade, its original critical becomes 2. So know that in Premium, when you stride, you will not be able to trigger the critical effect because your grade is now higher than your opponent's. But in V, it's not a problem, so just know that it can give Thingsaver base crit 2, and when Thingsaver calls it, you can trigger it again to make it original critical 2 again. It's really solid. Its second effect is if you didn't ride this turn and it swings, you can put it to the bottom of the deck to draw a card. Now you're freeing up those circles for that multi-attack I'm talking about, and it's really just a good card. For grade 1s, we'll go ahead and get my... This is the card I've been mentioning that helps trigger the multi-attacks a lot. When your grade 3 Vanguard is placed, you can put this in soul to draw a card and choose a card from your hand and call it. Now, it's not a +1, but it gives you 1 soul for Thingsaver and can trigger the multi-attack. This can call you an Ashley. This can call you a Blade Seeker. This can call you anything that hits the Vanguard again. Because it allows it to give you another attack. It's just really good, and I can't recommend playing forward enough. Then To continue the Jewel Knight engine, just 4 grade 1 Jewel Knight, the Counterboss 1, and put a normal unit to the bottom of your deck, the Soul Charge 1, and give a Jewel Knight +5. It can give herself the +5 as well. Again, just return a Thing Saver so you're not returning it instead of triggers. And then when something's played in this column, you can draw a card. This is your ideal grade 1 ride target, as it pluses you 1 card, as I didn't do in a video earlier. It is the best grade 1 ride target, and I honestly feel like if I'd ever invest in Royal Paladin, I'm pretty much gonna say this every video, invest in the Jewel Knight package. It is going to be really good, and the second Jewel Knights get more support, I don't want it to go up and then everyone missed out on it. It's good. It's fantastic. It's the sole thing carrying Royal Paladin. And then for your top 5 searcher, it's just, if you have no face-up damage, +5, top 5, grade 3, discard 1. Then Thing Savers, just so you don't drive check them, they're dead, effectively, so you can get it, find your Ashley, and really that's it. They're just decent attackers sometimes, or decent boosters. Not much to say about those. I think you play 4 in most of your decks, honestly. Then 2 of the other card from clan selection, it is Knight of Warhammer. What is your name? Augustus.
Knight of Warhammer in this guy.
When this unit boosts a Blaster Blade, you can Counterboss 1, discard a card to give it 5 and a drive. That ability is not super relevant. You can use it if you had to ride Blade Seeker and you just want the extra drive. It comes up occasionally, but not really. You're mostly playing him for the second effect, is at the end of the battle, your Vanguard attacked, stand this unit. So as you're calling new units, you can give another AK booster. You can use it for both battles, or if it's behind Thing Saver, you can do it both times. Pretty solid. And then triggers, just 8 crit. You return them. You play it on a draw, but I don't really like it. For draw PGs, there's no reason to run the draw. There's no reason to run the Sentinel crits. I've considered it, but I think you want the draw cards to find the pieces early game, and the Thing Saver deck is really slow early, so having the draws is really helpful. And you can keep returning these, so you just have infinite PGs basically, and they're also draw triggers. And then for the last part, I play 2 and 2 of normal heal triggers and heal guardians. The reason being on this is because early game you are weaker than most Royal Paladin decks, and this is really fantastic. You can use it off Baby Mile hopefully to find it. Or I honestly have a couple games where I've kept it in my hand if I know I'm going second and know I'm fighting a deck that's just highly aggressive. But that being said, once you ride grade 3, its usefulness is completely gone. And you'd rather the 20k shield. You're a deck that returns triggers and returns your value of shield. You constantly want the 20k returning, but you do need these to survive the early game sometimes. So I run for a 2 and 2 split. You could go 4 and 4 of either one, and I don't think it'd be a problem. If you went 4, I'd probably recommend the 4 Innocent Rays, just because it helps you survive early game where you're not arguably the strongest. But I definitely think I'd prefer the 2 and 2 split, as it allows you to constantly return these as well to get 20k shields, which honestly do block a decent bit still with 1 card. That is my Thing Saver deck profile for V Premium. I think the deck is really fun, and I don't think it necessarily is the best deck for Royal Paladin. I still think it's in contention with Sanctuary Guard and Jewel Knights for one of the better decks, but I think this deck is honestly way more fun to play than Sanctuary Jewel Knights. I will hopefully have more videos on it, and remember to like, comment, subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you guys later.